the words, hesitated. Said what? Mrs. Quimby was baffled. Said what, Ramona? Beezus, what did he say? Beezus wiped the back of her wrist across her eyes and tried. He said, Eagerness to beat her sister at telling what had happened overcame Ramona's reluctance.
He said, Jesus, Beezus.
Ramona looked up at her mother, waiting for her to be shocked. Instead, she merely looked surprised and, could it be, amused. And that is why I never, never, never want to be called Beezus again, said Beezus.
And all the other boys began to say it too,
said Ramona, warming to her story now that she was past the bad part.
Oh, Mama, it was just awful. It was terrible. All those big, awful boys, they kept saying, Jesus, Beezus, and Beezus, Jesus. I jumped out of the swing and I told them...
Here, Beezus interrupted. Anger once more replaced tears. And then Ramona had to get into the act. Do you know what she did? She jumped out of the swing and preached a sermon. Nobody wants a little sister tagging around preaching sermons to a bunch of boys. And they weren't that big either. They were just trying to act big. Ramona was stunned by this view of her behavior. How unfair of Beezus when she had been so brave, and the boys had seemed big to her. Mrs. Quimby spoke to Beezus as if Ramona were not present. A sermon? You must be joking. Ramona tried again.
Mama,
Beezus was not going to give her little sister a chance to speak. No, I'm not joking. And then Ramona stuck her thumbs in her ears, waggled her fingers, and stuck out her tongue. I just about died. I was so embarrassed. Ramona was suddenly subdued. She had thought Beezus was angry at the boys, but now it turned out she was angry with her little sister, too. Maybe angrier. Ramona was used to being considered a little pest, and she knew she sometimes was a pest, but this was something different. She felt as if she were standing aside, looking at herself. She saw a stranger, a funny little 6-year-old girl with straight brown hair, wearing grubby shorts and an old T-shirt inherited from Beezus, which had Camp Namanu printed across the front. A silly little girl, embarrassing her sister so much that Beezus was ashamed of her. And she had been proud of herself because she thought she was being brave. Now it turned out that she was not brave. She was silly and embarrassing. Ramona's confidence in herself was badly shaken. She tried again.
Mama,
Mrs. Quimby felt her older daughter deserved all her attention. Were they boys you knew? She asked.
Sort of, said Beezus with a sniff. They go to our school, and now when school starts, all the boys in the 6th grade will be saying it. 6th grade boys are awful.
They will have forgotten by then. Mrs. Quimby tried to be reassuring. Beezus sniffed again.
Mama, I think we should stop calling her Beezus.
Even though her feelings were hurt and her confidence shaken, Ramona had a reason of her own for trying to help Beezus. Whenever someone asked Beezus where she got such an unusual nickname, Beezus always answered that it came from Ramona. When she was little, she couldn't say Beatrice. Now that Ramona was about to enter 1st grade, she did not like to remember there was a time when she could not pronounce her sister's name.
Just because I have an Aunt Beatrice, I don't see why I have to be named Beatrice, too, said Beezus. Nobody else has a name like Beatrice.
You wouldn't want a name like everyone else's, Mrs. Quimby pointed out.
I know, agreed Beezus, but Beatrice.
Yuck, said Ramona, trying to be helpful, but her mother frowned at her.
How about Trissy?
She suggested hastily. Beezus was rude.
Don't be dumb. Then they would call me Sissy Trissy or something. Boys in the 6th grade think up awful names. Nobody ever calls me anything but Ramona Kimona.
Ramona could not help thinking that an awful nickname might be interesting to have.
Why not just be Beatrice? Nobody can think up a bad nickname for Beatrice.
Yes, I guess you're right, agreed Beezus.